If you really want to understand our future with AI, we can't start with silicon chips and data centers. No, we have to go back, way back, 40,000 years to a limestone cave, because that's where this whole story actually begins, the story of what it means to be us in an age of intelligent machines.
This quote reframes everything. You look at a cave painting and your first thought is probably art. But what if it was something way more functional? What if that person, all those tens of thousands of years ago, was doing the very first upload, taking an idea out of their head and saving it as durable data on a rock wall?
So here's the plan. We're going to start with that first hard drive on the cave wall. Then we'll walk through the history of compression, see how the economy shifted from muscles to energy, talk about why flaws are actually a feature, not a bug, and land on our new role in all of this, becoming architects of intent. All right, let's jump in. The first hard drive. And I want to be clear, this isn't just some clever metaphor. It's a very real, functional way to describe that incredible moment we first pushed our knowledge out into the world. I mean, just think about what that took. You see this huge, terrifying three-dimensional animal. You have to mentally strip away all the unimportant details and compress its vital strategic information, its shape, its weak spots, down into a simple two-dimensional model. And just like that, for the first time ever, an idea could outlive the person who had it. This is the big idea, right here, externalization. As a species, this is what defines us. It's what we do. From cave walls, to clay tablets, to books, to computer code, we are obsessed with moving our thoughts out into the world. And that simple drawing was the start of it all. And, this whole idea of externalization leads us directly to our next stop, the history of compression. Because really, all of human progress is just the story of us getting better at taking an infinitely complex world and making it small enough for our brains to handle. And you can see this incredible progression. We started with art, right? Capturing a single specific thing. Then came language, which let us encode rules and talk about cause and effect. Mathematics gave us something like the universe's source code, a way to describe its processes. And now we have AI, which doesn't just describe the model, it runs it, it executes it. And this is the giant leap. A map is passive. It doesn't drive the car for you. An equation just sits there until a person solves it, but an AI model, it does the thing. It's gone from static picture to an active participant. You could say that after 40,000 years, the bison has finally stepped off the wall. This huge shift from passive maps to active models completely changes the economic game. And that brings us to the great bottleneck shift, from muscles to joules. See, civilizations are always defined by what's holding them back, by their scarcest resource. And that resource is in the middle of a massive change. For almost all of history, the bottleneck was muscle power. Pure physical labor. The Industrial Revolution basically solved that. But when you solve one bottleneck, you just reveal the next one. And that was brains, expertise, the number of doctors and engineers you could train. But now, AI is solving for that. Because once intelligence is just software, it becomes infinitely scalable. You don't need 20 years to train an expert anymore. You just spin up another copy. So that means cognitive labor, the thing that defined scarcity for the last 100 years, is quickly becoming abundant. So what's the new bottleneck? Well, here it is. This is the new reality. Once muscle power and brain power are abundant, the only real physical limit left is energy. Every single calculation, every query, it all costs electricity. Joules. The ultimate bottleneck isn't human talent anymore. It's just getting enough cheap, reliable power for the machines that have that talent. Okay, now for an idea that might seem a little counterintuitive, but it is absolutely crucial: the strength of flaws. We're all conditioned to think that better AI means more correct AI. But that assumption isn't just wrong, it's actually a roadblock to real innovation. We have to make a sharp distinction between two different things. There's optimization, which is all about getting better and more efficient at stuff we already know how to do. And then there's discovery, which is about finding things nobody even knew were possible. You can't get to real discovery just by being more correct about the past. See, today's AIs are basically just giant averaging machines. They look at all of human knowledge, and they're designed to give you the most statistically probable, the most average answer. But a true breakthrough is never the average answer. By its very definition, it's improbable. It's an outlier. And the path to get there isn't a straight line. It's usually paved with what you could call productive errors. Penicillin is the perfect case study. Alexander Fleming wasn't trying to discover it. He made a mistake. He had a contaminated Petri dish. That flaw ended up revealing something that a perfectly clean, perfectly correct experiment never would have found. This is the new model for how we're going to find the future.
So all of this leads us to the final, and let's be honest, the most important question. What's our job in all this? What is left for us to do when the machine can think? The answer isn't obsolescence. It's a redefinition of where our true, irreplaceable value really is.
Here's the new division of labor. AI is taking over the how. It's becoming the world's expert on how do I design this bridge or how do I write this code. And that's fantastic because it elevates our role to defining the what. What problem is worth solving? What future is worth building? Our value is no longer in the execution, it's in setting the direction. This is intent. It's the simple choice of what matters. And you can't get that from looking at past data, because intent is all about aiming for a future that doesn't exist yet. This is the one domain AI can't touch. It is the one thing that has always been and will always be uniquely human. So what does this mean for you, practically? It means you need to focus on these three things. Cultivate curiosity, because the quality of your questions is now way more valuable than the answers you have memorized. Refine your judgment, because you have to be the one who decides which of the AI's outputs are actually worthwhile. And own responsibility for setting the values and goals that we point these incredibly powerful tools at. And that brings us full circle. That first act of drawing on a cave wall, it never really ended. The wall just got bigger. A lot bigger. It's grown to become a global network of computation, a tool with power that is almost impossible to imagine. The tools are here. The power's coming online. The only thing left is the exact same choice that our ancestors faced 40,000 years ago, standing there in front of that blank piece of stone. The only job that ever truly mattered was deciding what was worth drawing in the first place. So the question is, what will you choose?